Today we're going to make something kind of fun for Thanksgiving or any other time that you're looking to have people over and have kind of an unusual dessert, something that people don't see every day. And it's really fairly easy. We call it the PieCaken. So what I've done ahead of time was I've gone ahead and baked 2 layers of chocolate cake. And you can do any type of cake, obviously, that you want. You can pick white and fill it with apple, or I've done chocolate and I filled it with cherry pie, which is awesome. So really you're just looking for a combination of cake and pie that you think would be fun and interesting. In this case, I've made the chocolate already. I bought this cheesecake and it's got raspberry on top. So I think that the raspberry with the chocolate is gonna go over pretty well. So the idea is once you bake it or buy it, doesn't matter, you wanna make sure that they're frozen. Because if they're not frozen, it's really hard to move the cake around without it being a huge mess. So what you would do normally is if the cake and the pie are the same size, all you can do is stick the cake down first, the pie, and then the cake again, and then you ice the whole thing. In this instance, since the cheesecake is considerably bigger than the cake, I have to make them the same size. So I'm gonna put this on here like this, and then I'm going to make some marks so that I can cut away the excessive cheesecake so that they're both the same size. Trust me, no one is gonna mind that you've got this extra cheesecake sitting around. So what we're gonna do is cut the cheesecake so that it's the same size, and then you're gonna have these lovely scraps around the side that everyone in your family is gonna wanna eat. Now that we've got the cheesecake the same size as the cake, you can put it together. First, you wanna put the chocolate layer down, but you wanna have like a little bit like cement, right? So a little bit of icing. Go ahead and add your first layer. Press down. Go ahead and add your cheesecake. Add your cheesecake. And because this has a raspberry filling on top already, it doesn't really need too much icing to secure it, but we're just gonna go ahead and put a little dab on there. And then we're gonna add the final layer. And this is your completed cake. And so you have, the chocolate layer, the cheesecake in the middle, and then the chocolate on top. Now it does look lopsided, and that's normal for everybody. So don't let that weird you out, because icing can fix anything. So what we're gonna do is take this icing that I've already mixed up, and we're gonna go ahead and get rid of the beater. If you've got kids around, they love being able to lick the beater. Not a problem there at all. And then we go ahead and ice the cake. Now the beauty of the icing, of course, is that you can hide any deficiencies in your baking. So you can go ahead and smooth that out. And because I've got this kind of low edge here, we're just gonna go ahead and fix that up. I'm gonna go ahead and ice the sides. And when I was in cooking school, my chef was always concerned about presentation because he always said, people eat with their eyes way before they eat it. So if it doesn't look good, if it's not appealing, nobody's gonna eat it. Not that that's supposed to pressure you in any way to make it look attractive, but you should always have some sort of mindset that you want the product that you're working on to have some sort of prettiness about it, for want of a better word. I mean, you want it to look like somebody would want to eat it, right? So always keep in mind that something should look attractive. Otherwise, people are not gonna wanna eat it. So we've iced it. Make it a little smooth. Fix the top a little bit. And then just to make this a little bit more attractive, I am gonna go ahead and put a border on it. So I've got my pastry bag ready. I'm gonna add a little icing to it. I'm gonna just pick white for the border. So what we're gonna do then is just go ahead and add a border. Once we have the border, because I'm kind of interested in having it decorated a little bit better, I'm gonna add a border with a few flowers on top. I've gone ahead and mixed up some pink icing, and it's always nice to have a color array of some food colorings, and I would recommend this AmeriColor food coloring set. It gives you some basics, and it's a paste, which is what you're looking for instead of a liquid, because a lot of times there's gonna be some sort of thing that you're working on that's you're not going to want added liquid to it. So if you have the paste, then you're able to go ahead and add stuff without necessarily ruining your recipe by adding extra color to it. So I've already got the white bag, and so I'm just going to squeeze out the excess. But what's nice about starting with white is then you can just add stuff right to your bag again without necessarily having to clean it, which works. So we're going to go ahead and add kind of the pink decoration to this. And in order to do that, we do have to change the tube that we're using. The first tube that I used was what we call a star tube, and that's used to decorate obviously the borders. And what I'm going to add now is a rose tube. And the rose tube will allow me to make this decoration that I'm going to be looking for on my border. So I'm going to leave the rose tube straight up, and I'm just going to add a little bit of pink to this. Now we're going to take the pink icing, and it's got the rose tube on it. And we're just going to add a little border here. Just kind of makes my border pop a little bit. Okay, so now I've finished the top border. And I've gone ahead and got some green ready. And this is in a leaf tube. And these are just some basic tubes that you can get from Wilton or just on Amazon. Now, if I turn the leaf tube to the side a little bit, I can create actually a little squiggle like that. And I'm gonna go ahead then, again with my rose tube and a nail, and go ahead and create a rose. Now, of course, this stuff takes, practice. If you're so inclined during your pandemic days to sit around and practice. I used to do this as a child when I was learning how to cake decorate. I would go ahead and spend some time practicing with just regular cookie sheet or even on the kitchen counter. And so I would put the rose down. You can make one more if you like. Generally, everything is supposed to be done in odds, so you don't want to put 2 roses or 4 roses. You want to do 1 rose, 3 roses. That's the way it's typically done. So you get your rose done, put that down. Since we don't want to leave an even number, we're just going to do 1 more, put that down. Now, if you're in a position where you've got a little extra time, that's what I'd suggest you do, is you could make these roses ahead of time. I used to sit down and make trays of them. And then when you're ready to work on your cake, you've got them frozen. You can pick them up, you can put them wherever you want. Now, you can also go ahead and just add a few, what we call rose buds. And that's just some, and then you go back to your green again, because you want to give it some leaves that would occur from underneath your rose. Add a little leaves on your vine. And there you have your cake. So the cake itself is gonna be fantastic. I'm gonna cut it open for you here in a little bit, but it takes a while for it to defrost. So you don't wanna make that mistake either. You don't wanna have this frozen cake that you just take out of the freezer and then give to your guests. You wanna make sure that you've defrosted it probably early in the morning if you're having it for dinner, and then leave it in your refrigerator if you're afraid it's too hot out and it's gonna melt it all. But the decoration, I think, is kind of fun. And then, you know, the fact that when people cut into the cake, they're gonna see that the chocolate with the cheesecake, and you're gonna have your PieCaken. I hope you enjoyed this, and think about all the different varieties you can make. Chocolate with cherry, you know, vanilla with a chocolate silk pie in the middle. But you can do lots of things with this, and I think it's really, really easy and a quick dessert for your guests. Thanks so much. Okay, the cake is thawed enough to cut, so I have gone ahead and cut the cake, and this is the inside. So you can see the chocolate with the cheesecake. It looks fabulous. And when people get their own slice, they're gonna be very excited by this. So keep in mind that you can add anything to your PieCaken, any kind of pie, any kind of cake. Have fun.